A very good morning, children, and I hope you are all doing well. At the same time, I am very much happy with the active participation. You people, whatever work is interested in you, you people are doing very well. And today I would like to deal with grammar. Before that, I would like to deal with vocabulary. So you all know that English is a universal language, right, children? So vocabulary is very important for your communication. Okay, first if you just open page number 8 from your textbook, those who don't have textbooks, you don't have to worry about it. I have written the words with meanings, but in your textbook meanings are not given to you. I have given the meanings also. Look at the list of adjectives given below in the box. Which of them describe Nick Vishek? Tick them. So here, so what is an adjective? You all know that adjective is a part of speech which qualifies a noun. So here, some of the adjectives are given. I'll just read it out with the meaning. Positive, hopeful and confident. Is Nick positive or not? How can you say Nick is a... Look at the first word, positive. What does it mean? Hopeful and confident. So if you take Nick, is Nick positive? That means Nick is hopeful and confident. So how can you say that Nick is hopeful and confident? Because he is hopeful and confident, he could play golf, he could play football, he could swim, he could surf. So put tick over here. So is Nick negative? No. Optimistic, believing that good things will happen in the future. So how can you say that Nick is optimistic? If he is optimistic, put tick over here. Pessimistic. What is the opposite for pessimistic? Expecting that bad things will happen in the future. So like this, so adjectives are given. So adjective means it is, these words are describing Nick. So look at the list of adjectives given below. Which of them describe Nick? So whatever adjective is describing Nick, put tick over here. See, generous. Is Nick generous? So if he is generous, put tick over here. Nervous, worried or frightened about something. Is Nick nervous? So if he is nervous, he can't surf. Confident, sure that something will happen in the way that you want or expect. Smart, fashionable and clever. Sociable, friendly and enjoys being with other people. Cowardly, not at all brave. Is Nick coward? If he is a coward, he won't be able to surf. Courageous, brave. Because Nick is brave, he could swim, he could surf, he could play golf, football. Reliable. Is he dependable? Independent. Confident and able to do things by oneself in one's way. So these are the adjectives which describe Nick. So whatever the adjectives which describe Nick, put tick over here. Right, children? Children, if you turn to page number 9, you can see some of the words that describe the positive or negative attitude of a person. Sullen, angry and silent. So is this word positive attitude or negative attitude? So if you are angry and very silent, is it the positive attitude of a person? No. So what you have to do is put a tick mark against positive attitude. So this is a negative attitude. So put cross over here. Sneaky, doing things in a secret and dishonest way. So it is the negative quality of a person. So put cross over here. Exuberant, happy and full of energy and excitement. So full of energetic and excitement is a positive attitude of a person. So put tick over here. Bossy, always telling other people what to do in a way that is annoying. So you command So that is a bossy nature. So it is a negative attitude. So put cross over here. So like that. So whatever positive attitudes you find, put tick over here. For negative attitudes, put cross over here. So cautious, careful to avoid danger or risk. Aggressive, behaving in an angry, threatening way. Competitive, determined or trying very hard to be more successful than other people. Finicky, too concerned with unimportant details and small things that you like or dislike. Imaginative, good at thinking of new and interesting ideas. Observant, good or quick at noticing things. Enthusiastic, showing a lot of interest and excitement about something. Outgoing, someone who is outgoing likes to meet and talk to new people. Haughty, behaving in a proud, unfriendly way. Intrepid, willing to do dangerous things. Fearless, brave. Malicious, very unkind and cruel and is trying to do harm to others. Meticulous, very careful about small details and always make sure that everything is done correctly. Slovenly, lazy, untidy and careless. Obnoxious, very offensive, unpleasant or rude. Stingy, not generous, especially with money. Idealistic, believing that one should live according to high standards and principles even when they are very difficult. Idealistic, believing that one should live according to high standards and principles even when they are very difficult. Affable, friendly and easy to talk. Logical, reasonable and sensible. Mean, cruel, cultured, intelligent, polite and interested in art, literature, music, etc. Words, children, adjectives and the words that describe a positive and negative attitude of a person. So do this work, and for your public examination they'll give this for 2 marks, like put them under correct headings. So here I have given some of the words, children. Sullen, sneaky, aggressive, meticulous, obnoxious, malicious, affable, exuberant, competitive, idealistic. Already I have given the meanings also for these words. So what you need to do is you need to put them under correct headings, like this. They'll be giving you these words and you have to place these words under correct headings. See, for example, sullen. So I have given you the meaning of sullen already. So whether this word is positive or negative. If it is positive, put it under positive attitude. So this is the this is one question which will be given for your examination. Children, now let us deal with the grammar. If you turn to page number 11. So in grammar you have defining, and non-defining, relative clause. So in grammar you have defining and non-defining relative clause. So children, listen very carefully. So it is not at all a difficult topic. If you listen very carefully, it is very, very simple. So defining and non-defining relative clause. Before learning about defining and non-defining relative clause, first we shall know, you should know about what is relative clause. Before knowing what is a relative clause, let us know what is a clause. What is a clause? So today's topic in grammar is defining and non-defining relative clause. Before learning defining and non-defining relative clause, first we should know relative clause. Before knowing relative clause, first we should know what is a clause. What is a clause? A clause is a group of words. What is a clause? A clause is a group of words which has a subject, finite verb, forms a part of sentence. So what is a clause? So 3 points you should see here. A clause is a group of words, number 1, which has a subject. Okay, number 2, a finite verb, number 3, and forms a part of sentence. So I'll just give you an example here. Who is wearing a red saree is my aunt. So let us see what is a clause from this example. Who is wearing a red saree? So this is a clause. Now you see, what did I say? A group of words. So it is a group of words. So I told you which has a subject. So here who is a subject, and I told you it is having a finite verb. Is wearing is a verb. So this is a part of a sentence. So is it clear, children? This is what you call it as a clause. Clause is a group of words which is having a subject and a verb. It is a part of a sentence. This is what you call it as a clause. So I will give you one more example. The bus going to school got a flat tire. So this is one more example. You can see what is the clause here from this example. The bus going to school got a flat tire. So going to school is a clause. That means going to school is a group of words. So the bus which is to school got a flat tire. So can we say this example? Do you find clause from this example? So what is a clause, as I said, which has a subject? Do you have a subject here? No. Okay, so it is not a clause. So I will write the same sentence. The bus which is going to school got a flat tire. So here you can see the bus which is going to school. Which is going to school is a clause, which is a subject, is going is a verb. So this is a part of a sentence. Now is it clear, children, what is a clause? A clause is a group of words which has a subject, a finite verb, and forms a part of a sentence. Right, children? So next, coming to coming to relative clause. Now so far we have learned what is a clause. Now we will learn what is a relative. So in defining and non-defining a relative clause, we have seen what is a clause. Now we will see what is a relative clause. So relative clause, our means here relative clause. Relative clause tells us which person or thing is referred to by the speaker. So if you see the example, then you can easily understand. The girl who is sitting on the last bench is my sister. Once again I repeat it. The girl who is sitting on the bench is my sister. On the last bench is my sister. So here we see a clause here. Who is sitting on the bench is a clause. So this clause is having a subject and who is subject and is sitting is a verb. So here relative clause means what? Who is sitting on the last bench is my sister. About whom is being said here? It is said about the girl. The girl who is sitting on the last bench is my sister. So this clause is describing about the girl. So that is what we call it as relative clause. So this relative clause tells about a person or a thing. Clear, children? So the girl who is sitting on the last bench. So who is sitting on the last bench is describing about what? This clause is describing about this girl. So girl is a noun. So this is what we call it as a relative clause. See, the bus which was going to school got a flat tire. So this which was going to school is a clause. So this clause is describing what? It is describing about the bus. So it is called as a relative clause. See, relative clause describes noun. So what is a noun here? Girl is a noun and the bus is a noun. So this clause is describing what? This clause is describing the bus. This clause is describing the girl. So this is what we call it as relative clause. Always the relative clause is dependent. See. Does it have any meaning? Who is sitting on the last bench is my sister. So this clause depends upon what? This one, the girl. Which was going to school got a flat tire depends upon this one. So if you don't have this one, you don't have meaning for this. If you don't have this word girl, there is no meaning for this. See, who is sitting on the last bench is my sister. Do you have any meaning in that? No. So relative clause depends upon this main clause. Clear, children? In relative clause, we use who for persons, which or that for things, where for places. So I have given you one example here. The girl who scored the highest marks in English is my cousin. So we are talking about the girl. So girl is a person. So we have used this relative pronoun who. We went to a shop. So this is a noun. We are talking about the shop. So we went to a shop. So a shop is not a person. So that's why we have used which. We went to a shop which sells grocery items. Clear, children, everyone? So this is what we call it as a relative clause. So what is a relative clause? Relative clause tells us which person or thing is referred to by the speaker. Now let us know what is defining and not defining relative clause. So the same examples we can take. So here, if you see, the girl who scored the highest marks in English is my cousin. So if you take this example, the girl, you separate this one. The girl, which girl? We don't know. If you see the girl, there are many girls in a classroom. We don't know which girl. So the girl in the among the girls, the girl who scored the highest marks in English is my cousin. So this is defining a girl. So that is, we have to define who that girl is. The girl who scored the highest marks in English is my cousin. So which girl? So we don't know. So we have to define who is that girl. Who scored? The girl who scored the highest marks in English is my cousin. So that is why it is called as defining a relative clause. So we have to define. So one more example we can see. We went to a shop which sells grocery items. Can you tell children We went to a shop. So there are many shops. Which shop did you go? To the shop which sells grocery items. So this is defining this shop. So that is why it is called as defining relative clause. The same you can see here. One more example. We went to supermarket which sells grocery items. So there is a little bit similarity is there, but a lot of difference is there here. See, we went to a supermarket. Already to which shop we have gone is already mentioned here. Which shop did we go? We went to supermarket. So already defined. So that is why it is called. So there is no need to define. Already you have defined in this sentence. Which shop did you go? We went to supermarket. So that is why there is no need to mention. So that is why it is called as non-defining relative clause. Clear children everyone? So today we have learned what is a clause, what is the relative clause, and how can you distinguish between defining and non-defining relative clause. Very simple children. In defining relative clause, so there is here example is given, no? The girl. You don't know which girl. Which girl? Who scored the highest marks in English? That girl we are defining. So that is why it is called as defining. So here we went to a shop. To a shop means which shop? We don't know which shop. So here we have to mention which sells grocery items. The shop which sells grocery items. To that shop we went. That is why it is called as defining relative clause. So we went to supermarket. Already it is mentioned here. There is no need to mention which shop. Here we went to supermarket. Which shop did we go? Already it is mentioned. Supermarket which sells grocery items. So that is why it is called as non-defining relative clause. So I will give few sentences. You try to find out which one is relative, defining and non-defining relative clause children. Okay children, I have given you two sentences and you have to combine the two sentences with the relative pronoun. The postman is very old. He works in the village. So you have to combine these two sentences using the relative pronoun who. This is the car my friend bought it. So this is the car. This is the car my friend bought it. Combine these two sentences with the relative pronoun that. So just open turn to page number 12 children. So we have defining and non-defining relative clause. So find out which one is defining and which one is non-defining relative clause. Right children? So I hope you understood today's topic defining and non-defining relative clause. Okay children, thank you. Have a good day.